Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today is Thursday, July 23rd, and we have a very special guest today on our segment of Perspectives on Bellevue TV. This is a gentleman who has made headlines in the last 3 weeks, and his life has just changed completely. And we think it's an opportunity to have some amazing discussions about what's going on in the world. But also it's an opportunity to recognize that sometimes with social media, there are positive outcomes and there are negative outcomes, but we want to make sure that this encounter does not define this gentleman for the rest of his life. So we'd like to take the opportunity to redefine him and just introduce you to Lenin Gutierrez. So we're so excited to have you on Bellevue TV. Thank you for taking time and for joining us. I'm here with my co-host, Alexis Dixon.
Hello.
And when we first saw your story, Lenin, honestly, how I found out about you and the amazing person you are is through a former employee, Roxy. And Roxy was a barista for us at Bella Vista. And when she posted and said, "Hey, this is my friend Lenin, and this is what's going down," Mama Bear came out as an employer. And my first reaction was, well, he can come work for us. And then I started to learn more about you as a person. And you're a dancer. You have a huge passion for wanting to help others and big dreams. So I think in this next hour, we're just going to cover so many amazing topics and really get to know who you are as a person. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is Lenin Gutierrez.
Lenin Gutierrez. So Lenin, first of all, thank you for being here. And like Amanda said, there was a moment in social history that kind of catapulted you into the public eye. And I can imagine when you woke up that morning, that was not in your plans at all. So before we get to that particular point in time, why don't you give us a little bit of background about who you are and what your life was like before the social media catapulted you to the public eye? Who are you, Lenin? And share your life with us before this happened.
Well, I'm a college student at Miramar College. I was studying kinesiology to become an athletic trainer because I just wanted to help people or dancers in particular. And before all this, I was just always dancing in rehearsals with my team. Now it's online. We have to go through Zoom through this quarantine. But other than that, I was just doing my everyday thing of just school, work, dance, and just repeating that cycle through this quarantine. But yeah, after that incident kind of shot me into a whole different world.
So where'd you get your passion for dance?
Oh, so one time when I was younger, I went to a friend's house and she had a TV and she was playing Stomp the Yard. And I remember walking past the TV and looking at the screen and thinking, just wow, the way these people would move to the music, I was just entranced by their dancing. And ever since I started trying to dance on my own, I followed Jabwalkies when they first appeared on America's Best Dance Crew.
Right?
Yeah. And then I would force my friend to be like, "Hey, we got to learn this. You got to reenact it." So I would grow through the years all the way to high school. I would just watch YouTube videos of dancers and try to recreate them. And then finally, once I hit into college, I started taking dance more serious. And I took classes at studios and classes at the college I was at. And then just joining teams. So I was constantly just involved in the dance community once I saw that movie.
And what does dance mean to you? I know I'm on kind of the other end where I grew up and I was on stage for half my life. And then when you stop, it's like, oh my gosh, why did I ever stop? Right? What is dance to you? How does it make you feel? And, you started taking lessons what some people would say pretty late in life.
Mm-hmm.
What have you discovered?
I think one thing I discovered was the feeling of dance, what I really admire and I want to show. Because one thing, like I love being a part of the team and being a part of competitions, but there's this different aspect of like, I got to show my best so everyone can recognize us or me, and then we can place. But when it comes to like, when it's like freestyling, it's just pretty much you and the music. Yes, there may be competitions, but there's always this feeling of when you finally let go and you let the music just take you wherever you want to start dancing, how you feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. It's the best feeling. And I love, when I used to teach, I love showing people, and you can see it the moment when they're like, they're in their box and they're shy and they don't want to dance and they just are doing what they're told. But the moment they decide to relax is the best, because you can see them like, oh, I just want to have fun now. And that's what it means to me. It's just really connecting to who you are and how you just want to move.
It feels like a sense of freedom. I mean, I'm listening to you speak, and it seems like that's when you are most free. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. There's this like a relief of just you and the music, and that's it.
Yeah. Did this take your parents by surprise? I mean, were you showing any interest in dance? Do you come from a musical family? Did your mom and dad think, what the heck is happening to Lenin? Who is this kid? We thought we knew him, and yet he's moonwalking in the living room, messing up the rug. Did your parents like freak out, or were they supportive, or what was the response of the family?
So my mom has always been supportive of it. She saw me dancing, and she would tell me that I always would start dancing when we ever go. She would take me to a party with her, a family like barbecue. And then, and when I told her like, hey, this is what I want to start doing more, like I want to start joining teams, I want to start taking classes at studios, she was all for it. She just said like the typical mom thing. She's like, I want you to focus on your main goals, but like if you have time, then go for it. Like start dancing, do what you want, because I can see that's what you love. So I honestly got really lucky that my family was really supportive throughout the whole process.
And you have sisters. Sorry, Amanda. Sorry. And you've got sisters, right? You've got two sisters.
Yes.
Were they influenced by you at all? Were they mesmerized by you? Were they supportive? What was their response to this infection thing that this bug that had bitten you?
One of my sisters, the middle one, she would like to say that she took some credit, because there's a memory of where like she was teaching me how to dance and what she knew. So she'd be like, I'm the one that got you into it.
Like, teach me how to dance.
Yeah. So she was super supportive. And then my other sister, the oldest, she would try to make it to every show she can. Nice. And like she would, it's very sweet of her, but she always like cries and tears up because she can see like, this is what I like to do. So nice. They've just been supportive as well.
Very cool.
You mentioned that you're teaching, right? You're teaching dance. Can you talk a little bit about what it's like? Because it's different. It's different to be a dancer. It's different to perform. And then it's different to be a teacher, right? So Can you talk about that experience? Maybe what you missed during COVID, because a lot of dance studios have closed down. And then maybe we could also talk a little bit about, we've had other dancers come on that are tango dancers, for instance, and there's lots of studies now, and you're combining the kinesiology with dance. So maybe we could also kind of explore the subject of how dance is healing, and it's helping people with Alzheimer's and people with PTSD. So is that kind of the direction you think you're moving into? Lots of questions.
Well, when it comes to dance, before this, because I was teaching before the quarantine, after the quarantine, I haven't been teaching, except for recently. I just jumped on board with someone that helped me start a class on Tutorfly. So that's really good. But
on what? We're a little bit older than you. So on what?
So it's a new website where it's where kids or college students can go to get different subjects, and it's called Tutorfly. And it's really cool.
FLY?
Yes, like butterfly, but instead of butter, you put tutor. Yeah. Cool. So I'm just starting that. So that's going to be a new experience of trying to teach online. But when it came to because yeah, it is a whole different like set of challenges when you decide to teach, because just because you're a great dancer doesn't mean you're going to be a great teacher. Those are whole like, that's what I've been taught when I was like going through everything. And it's very true. And so when I decided to teach, I just started taking from my favorite professors like Mel Adow. She's a huge influence. And then Carla Durang and Amor Ledesma, they've helped me really shape it, of like taking time to really talk to the person and then helping them build on their strengths, instead of like, this is what I'm gonna do, I want you to be like me and just stay in this box of what I'm laying out. They've always kind of tried to teach. And one of the best things that I stuck with me was I'm gonna show you where to look, but I'm not gonna show you what to see. So that's what I want. So that's how it is for me. So every time I teach, I might have a choreography, but I always tell them like, there may be things that I don't hear that you hear. So go for it. Like do something, add a little chest pop or a little twist in that move. Do what makes you happy, because this is your journey in this dance.
Lenin, that brings me a lot of joy to hear. Not that I didn't love my own youth and my dance training, but wow, have we come a long way, or wow, times they are changing, right? I mean, I remember ballet class or, any jazz and, this is how you do it. And wow. So it sounds like you're letting people shine how they need to shine. You're celebrating them for who they are, but you're also empowering them, right? Mm-hmm. So you're kind of like this spiritual guru in addition to being a dance teacher.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things,
jazz hands.
Well, one of the things that Amanda talked about, and I want us to hit on this just a bit before we get to anything else, is the healing aspect of it in respect to PTSD. And when we talk about freedom of expression, oftentimes you find that people feel locked in. I think of kind of the psychological aspect of I can't breathe. And it feels like when I hear you speak about kind of the emancipation of just letting yourself go, and it's just, I love what you say, it's just me and the music. There's something kind of, Amanda used the word spiritual, and there's something kind of very spiritual about that. But have you had, through your teaching, or have you witnessed somewhere else where someone came in and may have been depressed or may have suffered from PTSD or had some situation, psychological situation, where dance became a point of healing for them? Have you ever seen that or witnessed that, or perhaps even within your own self?
Oh, definitely. So one of the performances I did with my team growing up, we had a very they switched it on us all of a sudden, because we were very into I guess like more of this hip hop hard hitting and like look at my style type of dance. And then they made us go into this more emotional and like flowing style. And then you could like, it changed the whole team throughout the rehearsals, because everyone had like some sort of something they were carrying with them throughout the rehearsal. And you can see some people were starting to break down and some actually started crying. And then at the end of the rehearsal, our directors brought us all together and was like, okay, who here has like, it took some time for everyone to open up. It was like, who here is going through this or that? And then you can see how many hands were going up, and so many people started like getting teary eyed and like just really letting the tears flow, just in the sense of like really connecting to something in a different way of just trying to be cool. Like you're listening to what the singer or the music, the intention they had behind it, because you can somehow like really get into the same headspace as they were in when they first created that song or that music. So I think it helps.
Yeah. So you're a student, you're a dancer, you're taking classes at the university in kinesiology because you want to help dancers. You've got a wonderful supportive family. Your mom is supportive. Your sister takes some credit for making you the man you are. Your other sister shows up to your performances. And now, are you working? Do you have a part-time job? How are you supporting yourself during this time?
So for right now, I'm in working at Starbucks, and that's where I've been I think everyone caught where I'm at, where like I decided, where after that incident, the whole world knew who I was. But so that's what I've been doing for right now. Other than that, before all this, I was teaching. What was my other side of I guess the flow of income. But for right now, it's just Starbucks, just being a barista.
That's pretty typical, right? So for people that are in the arts, right, we have 5 gigs. It's not like we have one job. That's, I don't know how many years my parents said, can you get one job with benefits? And no, because that's not my passion, right? So in order for you to pursue your passion, I want to make it very clear for people that are watching, right? A lot of the artists that come and perform at Bella Vista, same thing. Like they're artists, but they have 2 or 3 other jobs, and you're kind of piecemealing it together in order to balance everything out, because you don't want to sacrifice your passion. Right? And even when it comes to teaching, right? You could be trying to be a dancer yourself, and then you're teaching, and you have to supplement that income with being a barista, and then you have school. So you've got a full plate. But somehow remain graceful through everything.
Thank you.
And in addition to the training and conditioning, what does it take to be a dancer? What kind of conditioning and training do you have to do? Do you watch your diet? What does it take to be on stage and give your best?
Well, to give it your best, I would say, like, of course you can start and however you feel, but if you want to take it to the next level, I just started dancing on a regular, and our requirements, like our warm-ups would be house. And I don't know if that, what that is. There's a lot of footwork in house style dance. And so that's a lot of conditioning. And then since I paired it with kinesiology and I started learning like how to exercise properly and how to really utilize that to the most, I started using like weight training and other things to, because I thought weight training would slow me down, but oh no, ever since I started picking up some weights, I've actually gotten faster, more explosive in my moves. So like it helps me get so much further in my dance. Even some of the people that I dance around a lot with, they all say like, oh, you've like gotten to a different level. And yeah, I think it's just like taking care of your body, really. That's what's going to help. Exercising. It'll take you to the whole level, another level of like how far you can jump or how long you can keep a certain pace of dance.
And so what is your dance? I mean, what is it you're specializing in or focusing? Is it jazz? Is it, I said jazz because that's what I love first, but is it interpretation? Is it modern dance? Is it?
So I got heavily influenced by hip hop, and I took some jazz and ballet and modern when I was in Mesa. But the one style that I loved the most was hip hop, because I think it was just because throughout all the classes, that was the one that pretty much gave the whole, here's some space for you to become you. You don't really have to follow the outline exactly to the T. And that's where I've been training. And then from there, it's hard because it's not to say that it's only hip hop that I do, because from every person that I've learned from or took class from, it's their style. They would put in some ballet, or they put in some jazz or some breaking into it. It's just a whole different thing. So it's just choreography. It's dance. I don't really want to put it under the umbrella of hip hop, because it's kind of its own thing, and it's I guess it's starting to become its own branch as well.
Right, and it's fluid, right? Because you're going to take from different genres.
Yes.
It's so interesting. When I was watching you dance, Amanda just showed the clip of you. For some reason, Michael Jordan came to mind. And there were times, I don't know if you're too young for Jordan, but you know Jordan, right? You saw something?
Jordan.
Yeah, right? And there were times when Jordan would be on the court, and he would just be in the zone. I remember once he was in a game, and he came down court and he did some razzle-dazzle and he threw the ball out from almost half court, nothing but net. And he turns around, he's running down court, and he looks at Phil Jackson. He goes, it's kind of like, even I don't know what the hell is going on. Like, I'm just in this zone. And I was watching you there with your hoodie in the studio, and I thought, oh my God, that's not that's not Lenin. That's like Lenin has left the building, and there is this thing happening where is that what it's like for you? I mean, are you just like Lenin is gone and it's just happening? Is that the energy? Is that the vibe?
Yeah. Once, like, depending on what I'm listening to, it's kind of setting myself into a different character. But one thing that I love about dance is, like, every type of job has their own suit. And the thing with dance is what makes you feel really comfortable. And I think it might be because of Step Up or Stomp the Yard, but putting the hood on and then, like, just really listening to the music just puts me in a different mindset of really it's just the music. Mm-hmm. Because I'll admit, like, sometimes recording myself, it is a bit intimidating because I feel like it's another pair of eyes just staring. But once you get into that mindset of, like, whatever makes you feel comfortable, so whatever type of set of clothes gets you there is great. So that's how it is. I put on the hood, or I used, like, the Jabberwockies or the Kinjas, I would put on a mask to really, like, get into dancing.
Okay, after this call, I'm going to throw my hoodie on and see if I can...
It works. It absolutely works. I know while I'm no longer on stage, Bella Vista was definitely a theater in the round. And every time I needed to go up and I wasn't feeling it or I was tired, red lipstick.
Yeah.
Get on that, because it's a performance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's definitely a reason that artists gravitate towards sales and the entertainment industry, because when you think about it, people are like, oh, you own a restaurant. I'm like, no, I'm in the entertainment industry.
Interesting.
And I think cafes, like Starbucks, like what you're doing as a barista, you are entertaining as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think, are there skills that you've learned from being a dancer that have been helpful in your job as a barista? That are there transferable skills?
I think so, definitely. One of the things I think I picked up was being a little bit more outgoing and very supportive, because I can't say for all communities, because I've been in some dance communities where it's very, like, dog eat dog world. It's like, I'm going to be on top. But the ones that I've been into, like, it's been very supportive. They'll always cheer you on. They're like, yeah, let's go. Pull out all this. And it's just, like, amazing. And I love the energy. So when I go into work, it kind of, like, the energy stays in with me. And so when someone's like, oh, I did this today, or I went to work, I can be like, what? Wow, no way. And, like, that energy, I can make that energy kind of come out. And then I can see the other person, even through with a mask, like, you can see it in their eyes, them smiling, like, oh, thank you. So I think it translates very well of having, I guess, some sort of energy and, like, being able to cheer people on in whatever type of thing they're doing at the moment.
I love how when he was explaining that, how his body went into
the dancer.
It's in the DNA, it's in the genes,
Yeah.
It's true. When it's part of you, you can't help it. And people, I just like, well, that's
taking a shower, like, is that shower, Lenin? You just kind of, like, soap and.
Oh yeah, I think dance has affected me so much. There's some tics that I definitely have. Some friends pointed out that when I get nervous, I do a little certain type of dance. So they start picking up on my body language, and yeah, it's infected my life so much.
All the 11-year-olds are walking around doing these tics. I was like to my son, like, are you okay? And he'll just be at the dinner table, revolution.
So you woke up one morning, so you're a student, you're taking classes, you're focused, you have a dream, you have a vision for your life, you're conditioning yourself, you're surrounding yourself with good people. And one morning you wake up, you go to work, and something changed your life. And can you talk about that? Can you talk about what happened when you woke up one morning, went to work, and your life was radically different?
Yes. So that day I thought it was going to be like any normal day. So yeah, I went to work, and surprisingly, it wasn't like I was assigned to that shift. It was because someone else, like, called out, so I was brought in as help.
You weren't even supposed to be there.
Yeah, I wasn't even supposed to be there. So
I want to say who it was. No, I'm joking.
phone number, address.
Call them out.
So I went in as extra help, and then I was put into the front register, and then this lady came in, and then the lady was like, didn't have a mask on. So all I asked was if she had a mask. She kind of took that to heart more than I expected. And she took a photo of me and started cursing and left. After that, because sadly in the food industry or like the service industry, it kind of is a thing of like having to handle people that will like blow up on your face.
Yeah.
Which is just because, it's not the only time something like that's happened to me. But so once that one ended, I thought that's where it was going to end, or she was going to call corporate, or I'm just going to have like someone talk to me and be like, hey, next time we just got to do this instead. So I was like, all right, that's where it's going to go. But then later in the day, I saw that I was on Facebook because friends were like, hey, there's this post about you. And I was shocked. I was like, what? I would read through the comments when I found it, and there's like both sides arguing. And then later that day, I had another friend be like, there's a GoFundMe for you. And that one made me laugh because I was like, oh, that's awesome. But that's not going to go anywhere. Like, come on. And then once I woke up the next morning, because once I got all that news, it was probably like 10, 11 at night. Next morning, it jumped. All the comments, all the shares of that post skyrocketed up. And then so did the GoFundMe, like it went up as well. It was just so much. And then the second day after it happened, I think that's where it really like picked up steam, because that's when my phone started blowing up with people trying to tell me what was going on, and then just people trying to reach out to me, trying to say like, oh, thank you for doing this. So it was just a shock that day.
Wow. And so you took someone else's shift. You weren't supposed to be there. A customer comes in not wearing a mask, and so you politely ask her to put the mask on, right?
I asked her if she had a mask.
If she had a mask, and you're doing that because is that policy? Were you doing that just out of your own? What's the policy in Starbucks about wearing a mask?
So at that time, it was we had a paper that said we want our customers to wear masks, but they told us there's different ways that we can help them. So I was like ready to do all that, but then she came in and then I asked, but then she started to the whole argument thing. I didn't really have a chance to be like, oh, we can do this for you, or we can still start doing this. It was just at the moment, it was a policy, like it's something that we were asking our customers to wear was masks.
Yeah. And so how did this talk about the unfolding of this? You're getting calls, your friends are telling you're blowing up on Facebook. Social media is just like, it's just happening. GoFund. I mean, none of this is things you're doing. This is all happening unbeknownst to you, right? You didn't initiate it. Okay, so by the third day, what the hell's going on by the third day? Are you done? Are you just freaking out?
I have to say it was a great picture. Okay, so
what the hell's happening?
So by the third day, like I already got in contact with Matt, who created the GoFundMe. I had to go through this whole procedure of like, because once he reached out to me, he was like, are you the real Lenin? I need you to send me a photo of like you and the mask. Because at first it was just a photo of me. And he was like, oh, okay. Can you send one with the mask? Matt Cowan is the one that created the GoFundMe for me that raised the 100K.
Was he a friend or a colleague or?
Yeah, he was a random stranger. He just had a friend who lived close to where I work. So his plan was to send, because he didn't think it would get that big. So he was going to send whatever the GoFundMe made to his friend, and his friend would then go to Starbucks and then give it to me. But then it got big, and then through it, I honestly feel so lucky that Matt kind of created it, because through it, once he realized that I was the real Lenin, I was freaking out, because I'm like, I'm on the TV, I'm on news, like I'm going around, and it gave me a bit of anxiety where I couldn't really eat, because I'm like, oh no, a lot of people are watching now. There's the lady got mad. I don't know what's gonna happen from here. And it kind of affected me. But then I started reaching out to Matt, and Matt's helped me out through all of it. He would like calm me down and be like, all right, it's okay. This is going to happen. This is what's going to happen. I'm here to help you through this. And he's like, cause I felt a little bit weird because I thought anytime anyone would look at me, I was like, oh no, they're going to say something. But he would tell me like, no, it's okay. It's fine. Like, you're going to be okay. Most scenarios like that never happen. So he really helped me kind of adapt to this new world. So I'm really grateful that he was the one that created it.
And it's interesting because, you know, we were talking about that things that are caught on social media and that blow up, like, does that follow a person for a lifetime? Does that define who they are? Or that's just one moment in time. And we're listening to this and it's like, you weren't even supposed to be working that day. You know, you're covering for a friend. This happens. You try and, you know, calmly have a person abide by the rules. We are in the middle of a pandemic, by the way. In California now, it's just surpassed. We got the news today, right, that we've surpassed New York. And then this happens. And how do you, like you're saying, you don't want to be that kid. You have anxiety. You don't know people are going to approach you, give you their unsolicited opinion or advice, right? And so how do you embrace this moment, make the best of it, but then move forward where it's not defining you? But like, I think Alexis, when we were talking, you said it's opening a door, an unexpected door to a new opportunity. So, you know, how do you feel about social media? Just other, you know, we could talk about other people's experiences. Now that it's happened to you, you can empathize and say, oh my gosh, like that person, maybe they made a mistake or wrong place, wrong time. How do you feel about that now that you're on the other side?
I definitely feel like, I don't know how the other ones that, cause I know some people were trying to compare me to, Alex from Target, because I became Lenin from Starbucks. So I was like, I guess this is how he must have felt, because instantly like followers started going up on Facebook and on Instagram. And then I thought that was pretty cool. But then a lot of people started reaching out, and a lot of people just thought that since I was on the news and they knew my face and that I was on social media, that we had some sort of connection, and they instantly started trying to call me through like the messenger. And I was thrown back on the sense of, I don't know you guys like that, just to like answer calls. So but other than that, like all the people that were reaching out that were really kind, I really try to say thank you to all of them, but then they started piling up and I started feeling bad because I'm like, I can't respond fast enough. So I think it's just a whole different thing. So I don't know how they handled it as well, because it kind of went into different directions. And how I think I started adapted to it was I was told that just to take the most out of this opportunity, because at some point, like, this is my 15 seconds of fame, just do what you can with it. So like, having been able to be on this podcast, something I've never done before. So this is an amazing thing to be a part of. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Right.
And I was able to meet so many like great people. So instead of kind of like being scared of what could go wrong, I started embracing of like, these are opportunities that can like take me further into my journey. And I started taking advantage of it, like this one. And then Fullerton reached out to me, and I had a chance to talk to them and how I can have my path set to transfer over. So everything seems pretty good. So I'm just trying to make the most, and that I think that's how I'm pretty sure others have did it as well, but I'm not sure.
I want to come back. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just wondering at Fullerton. So are you going to go into the dance program or?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to go into their kinesiology program. Yeah. So, because they have an amazing kinesiology program, like all my professors highly recommended it, and so do other people that I look up to. And so I'm going as a bachelor's and a master's in athletic training. So,
it's kind of there's so much I can say about this, but we first started off about your family and how supportive your mom and your sisters have been. Can you talk about how your family has had to? How have they? I'm going to use this language. How have they danced with you through this?
I gotta say, it's been a very long, well, not long, but a very heart to heart moment with a lot of my family. Because before all this happened, I would say with my sister, that like the middle child, my middle sister, um, we weren't as close, but after this happened, we became super close, and it's just amazing. hmm and then with my other sister as well, like seeing the support, because at some point she got scared. She took me to school when I was young, so she became like a second mom to me. And so she was just scared. There was a point like with both of them, like with my oldest sister, she was scared that something would happen to me because of all this news attention. So I felt bad because I was giving her somewhat anxiety too. Um, and so the calming down between the there helped us a lot. And then with my other sister helping me through the process of kind of like handling all this, everything coming through, because she was the one that helped me find an attorney and like help me like what to like train to talk to other people. So I'm really grateful for that. And then we had a heart to heart because one time they came up to me and they know that they were like, oh, you know that you want to give part of the money to us to help us in our lives, but they said this is your dreams, and this is something no one in our family could give to you. So we don't want anything at all. Don't give us a penny. Don't give us anything else, because we just want your dreams to come true. You know, we want to make sure you're okay. And like, oh, I got to say, to be honest, it was just a tear fest between all of us.
Yeah, that is, one of the things I always say is, this is what I say. Let's see, can we get it here? Can I get it here?
You're floating there.
There it is. That's my mask. Okay, it's floating. That's, when I think of love as a verb, and Amanda and I talk about this all the time, love is a verb. To me, that was it. That's really a definition of love as a verb. That's family just loving in behavior. Your gift to us is you going out and living the dream. And so I just want to applaud your mom. I want to applaud your sisters. Your mother sounds like an extraordinary woman. I think any mother, I'm assuming she's a single mom. Am I making that assumption correctly? And I know there are mothers out there who are single that have to work, have to provide for their children, oftentimes at the expense of themselves because they put family first. And for your family, your sisters, to not only become closer and supportive of you, but to then say to you, that our gift to you is for you to make your dream come true. Is what that's the definition of family. So I'm so happy for you. I just want to say that. And so I'd love to send my my love to your mom and your sisters and your family. So I just want to say that. I'm just really moved by that. I know you, Amanda, you're a single mom.
Yeah. An empath, which is why I'm crying right now. Oh no, it's beautiful because you got like a double whammy. You have the pandemic that's forced you to slow down and be closer, and then this incident has brought you again even closer than you would have from the start. You go into Fullerton. You're teaching kids dance. How are you is dance gonna always be a part of your life? What have you learned? And now that you have, what a tip, man. Good tip. We're gonna talk about, being in the retail industry and verbal abuse and all. I really think we should address that, owning a business myself. Are you going to keep pursuing dance? What role is that going to play in your life? And everyone wants to know, what are you doing with the money? So let's just answer, the elephant in the room, right? Is that the expression? Yeah. Let's talk about it for just a little second.
So with the first part of your question, dance, it's always going to be a part of my life. I've never planned to let go of it. So the thing is I decided to I fell in love with kinesiology and the human body because of a professor named Kevin Petty, an amazing professor. His passion for for health and the human body as well is what got me into it. And then I realized like I can really use this to help dancers, because at some point, I hope it never comes, that my body decides to give and it's like, I can't dance anymore. I can help other dancers achieve their dreams. And with my knowledge, if they're like, oh, I hurt my ankle, I can wrap it up, or I can be like, hey, you just got to sit out for this long, or you just got to do these type of like simple exercises to get you back on your feet so you can start dancing again. Or if someone comes up and is like, I'm at this level, but I want to get to this level, then I can give them some sort of training to get them to that level. So with kinesiology, I really hope that I can always surround myself with dancers. Like I plan to help the general population too, but my main focus is to always try to help dancers can pursue with dancing as long as they can.
And that is a reality when you have an injury, right? It really affects dancers psychologically. I know there's dancers have been known to have dreams where, you can't do the moves. You're in a dance class. I don't know who, but you're dreaming, you're in a dance class and you can't do the moves. Wow. Right. And I think it's that you can do it, but there's that fear of my body won't allow me to do it anymore. So yeah.
Can you get equal joy, Amanda? Can you get equal and Lenin, can you get equal joy out of dancing and teaching dance? Where you get to the point where that body, I'm thinking of an athlete, right? Where you have a passion for what you do. And I love what Lenin said, it's me and the music. There's this emancipation of my physical identity, and I'm just giving expression to my life. And suddenly my body says, that's not going to happen anymore. Right? My body kind of like gets in the way. Is teaching do you get the same pleasure, the same joy out of teaching as you can dancing?
For me, yes, because it's kind of in a sense the same, kind of the same thing. Because like, you know how I said where you get into the music and you really flow and it's just you and the song. Being to that state feels really good, but also being from that outside looking in, seeing someone get to that state is just as great, because it's like seeing them smile and seeing them happy makes me happy, And there would be classes that I taught where I would tell them to close their eyes and just listen to the music and stand still. And by the moment I go to you and I touch you on the shoulder, you just, whatever you feel, do what you want to do. And seeing like some of the kids get really into it and really let their imaginations go, and seeing them finally go from like, oh, I'm scared, to having a smile on their face really brings joy to me. And like, wow, it's starting to get to them.
I think it's also, it's beautiful that you're already there, right? Because lots of times dancers have huge egos, right? And are very self-centered. Right? And just because they're dancers doesn't necessarily mean they want to teach, right? And in order to be a teacher, it goes back to that word selfless, right? So sometimes I think a lot of dancers go into teaching out of necessity. They need to pay the bills, or they've had an injury. But it sounds like you're doing it for neither of those reasons. You're doing it because you're a person who is truly selfless, and you're creating a space for these kids to explore their feelings, and really, you're helping them navigate to find that passion, right? And I think that's also what being a parent is, right? So you learning it without a child, I'm like, wow, you were way ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's so interesting that you just said that, Amanda, because I was thinking about Lenin and the Hoodie dancing. And when you used the word selfless, I thought, selfless, less of self, right? So if you have less of self, what Lenin said and what you said is, when I put that hoodie on and it's me and the music, it's less of self. But what seems to emerge as I'm watching Lenin and even hearing you speaking about your time in dancing is passion. Right? So if I have less of myself, what emerges is my passion, right? So it's me and the music. It's passion and the music, right? And I don't know where the music begins and where I end, or where I begin and the music. And I just know there's this kind of music thing happening. And so when you talk about him learning that, I'm seeing your mother. I don't know why. I want to push you out of the way and bring your mother in here. Because you got that from somewhere. And I don't want to go back, but I just feel like you're so rooted in family, you know. And Amanda and I was interviewing someone the other day. I don't think it was you and I, but we were talking about poverty, right? And so there's economic poverty. And so someone is poor, we say that. We go, oh, that's so bad. They say, well, wait a minute. When you say poor, what does that mean? I say, oh, well, they don't have a whole lot of money or they don't have a whole lot of things. And I think, well, that's economic poverty, right? And then I'm sitting with you, and not only do you no longer have economic, you never did, but you got a little bit more economy. But there's this spirit that you have that it's so rich. And I don't want us to miss that in speaking with you, because at 24 years old, you have this passion and this enormity of spirit that is just so beautiful. I mean, as you were speaking, I kind of saw you as a ballet dancer. I mean, I kind of saw you kind of doing ballet. You have this kind of ballet-esque spirit about this hip hop thing you do, right? And you break into it pretty easily. You can do that. And then I hear you speak, and there's this ballet thing, there's this Swan Lake thing you do with your spirit. But I just want to just recognize your mom and your family for the richness of the values they've given you to bring expression to this, you know. So I just want to acknowledge your mother. I just really want to do that, because I haven't met her, but through you, I'm feeling her soul and I'm feeling her spirit. Am I in the ballpark?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to that, I was influenced a lot by my mom, my sister, and then luckily I had a friend that stuck by me like when I was young. And through all four of them, they've really shaped me into the type of person that I became, because I could have gone in so many different directions throughout life. I wasn't in the best neighborhoods. So the fact that they kind of kept me, steered me straight and just on a good path, I owe them so much for that. And it's because of them that I am where I am.
Wow. What was the response of the company? I don't know if you can get into that or not, but all this unfolded for you. You didn't ask for it. Here you are. A stranger brought you into kind of what felt like a pretty bad situation. And yet another stranger picked that up and brought you. So it's almost like a stranger brought you to a door and led you to another stranger so that you can actually discover your dream. What has been the response of the company? Can you talk about that, or is that?
I can't really speak on behalf of the company. I can only speak on my opinions and how my story went. But yeah, I can't really speak for them.
Very good. Where are you now? Where are you now in respect to your position? To what's next for you?
So making sure that all my classes are good to go for Fullerton. But next for me with like goals, I'm talking to a financial advisor and other people that are like have been well off in their lives, and I've been asking them what to do with the donations that I receive. And so far, like I have it in my going towards school and having it like tied up right now for so I can grow more money within the bank. I forgot what they told me that it was. It's a whole new language. I was like, they threw so many abbreviations at me. But then so that's what I've been doing is like, it's pretty much going towards my schooling and making sure that I'll be good enough to achieve my goals, and I can always give back to the community without worrying about putting myself in a bad position.
Yeah. And how would you like to give back to the community? Sorry. How do you see yourself giving back to the community?
So one of my goals is what I want to do is I want to be able to take anybody, even if it's just knowledge through kinesiology or if it's through dance, I want to take them to go further than I've gone. So if it's like starting some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say a program, but when you bring people together and they all talk, kind of like a lecture, kind of like bring stuff like that for them, make things like that. And then some sort of like dance camp or a studio. And within the studio, it has that section where it's kind of like where PTs can be, and they can rather train them or have like heal them up. So at some point, I just want to make sure that they can go further than me. If it's through those type of seminars, or if it's through the studio, or through the PTs that are linked to it, whatever it may be, it's just like I just want to get them further in some sort of way.
Being a catalyst for those that might come from underserved communities and helping them realize their potential, and then give them the boost they need and the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
How have your friends responded? What are your friends saying to you, and how is that whole net?
They're saying dinner's on Lenin.
Lenin,
yeah. A lot of friends, like, well, the ones that are really close to me, they would make jokes like that, or then they would be all happy and they'd be like, oh wow, I could say that I know a famous person now. And it would just jokes like that. But then it would happen for like a good 20 minutes, 10 minutes of talking of how these things happen. But then it would kind of go back to how we were before this incident happened, which I really admire, because I want to move past it. Like, it's not, it happened in my life, but I don't want it to be who I am, you know?
Yeah.
So seeing them do that for me is really good. And it's just like, it's almost like nothing's ever happened, but they just also help me keep me grounded and make sure that I'm going for what my dreams and my passions.
Yeah. I love the idea you were talking earlier, that when you were teaching dance, you tell them, I'm going to tell you where to go, but I won't tell you what to see. Is that what you said earlier?
Oh, I'll tell you where to look, but I won't tell you what to see.
I'll tell you what, and so it feels like that's a metaphor for what happened. I'll tell you where to look. You can look at that, but then you define what you see. Mm-hmm. Right? Does that make sense at all?
Mm-hmm. Like, because I mean, through this, it could go in so many different directions. Because some people were worried that like I was gonna turn into a whole different person, that I was gonna blow through all the money the moment I received it, and so some people were really scared of that happening to me. But I just, it's not a part of me. I decided to, like, I really just want this for my future. So it's kind of like, this opportunity is presented itself, and now it's kind of like it's up to you to see how far you're going to take it or where you're going to take it. Because I was in I can't say his name right now, but I was talking to somebody that's kind of up there, and he told me that like this has been here, and he's seen both sides, in the sense of like someone got presented fame and they did nothing with it, and they just kind of let it die out on its own, and they saw others take it super far and it kind of got burnt out. So he's like, you can do whatever you want. You can take all the offers that have been presented to you on the table, or you can just let them sit there. So it's pretty much just up to you. And I don't know if that answered your question, but yes.
Yeah.
And I want to say thank you for being open to come on this show. We do have a few more minutes and a few more questions, but I did want to say thank you for coming on this show. I was a bit reluctant because I wanted to make sure it was appropriate. And I wanted to make sure that when we did have you on to speak, that we were giving you a platform so we can learn about you, like you're saying, as a person. And figure out, where are we as a nation? Where are we as a world? And it seems like people are hurting, people are angry, people are losing jobs, losing businesses, losing family members that they can't even see, right? I attended my first virtual funeral, I think the second week we started Bellevue TV. So, and I know it's getting heated, and we're watching our nation implode. And where I'm going with this is, in the industry that we're in and that you're in right now, in the entertainment industry and the food industry, there's a lot of pressure. Like, why don't you open back up? And, but take care of your customers. And I love my customers, but I will also go to town for my employees, right? And it's about your safety. And so how do you deal with people that are coming in and that, like, they're bringing all of their anger and projecting it in like just like sorry, but vomiting it on you, right? To borrow Alexis's term. Like, what advice can you give to people that are in the industry that are going to have to deal with customers coming in, being verbally abusive, maybe just not being in a space where they're thinking rationally, or they have so much hurt or anger? What can you say, like, to the baristas that are going to come back to Bella Vista, for instance, or to the ones that are out there that are on the front lines too, right? Because guess what? Now all those workers that were being treated poorly before, they're now essential workers. So any advice you can give?
My advice is kind of like, I feel like it's going to be very generic, but don't really let it get to you. There'd be times where I learned it the hard way, because I used to work at Rubio's, and that time I was the same person. Like when I got yelled at, I would try to talk back, but then I learned like it doesn't get you anywhere. It just puts both of you in like an angry position, and no one's point is getting across. So I learned to stay calm, and especially through Starbucks, to always just kind of be happy and have a smile. So when it happens, because it happens, sadly, people are going to have bad days, or they just want to like kind of let their anger out, or whatever is bottled up inside. And sometimes it ends up being us. And it affects you. I'm not going to lie, but just don't let it get too deep into your skin, because the next day, they're most likely you're not going to see them again, or because their points of views or their life doesn't really affect your life. It's pretty much up to you of how you want to take the day on moving forward. Are you still going to be upset about that interaction, or are you going to still have like enjoy the rest of the day, the sun that's out and stuff like that? So it's just always find a reason to be happy, and then try to be calm during the situation, because sometimes when I would just be calm and smile to the customer, they would leave, they would be angry, then they'd come back and be like, hey, I'm sorry, like I was just going through something that day, and you really didn't deserve that. So that doesn't always happen, but when it does, it feels nice. And it's just like,
Kill
just kind of
kindness, right? Kill them with kindness.
Yes, exactly.
And what advice would you offer, or what would you ask people that are customers that are coming in? What would your request be? What would your hope be as people go back to, the shopping malls, or to restaurants, or to cafes? What are you asking them?
For them, I think it's just kind of like be kind, because I know things are different now. Things aren't the same as it was before. Now we have to wear masks. Now there's glass there, and it's hard to like understand some people because now it's somewhat muffled. But this is all temporary. This is all for everyone's safety, and that at some point, like if we just kind of just deal with this now, we can get back to our normalcy sooner than later. Because I kind of think of it as like a cast. You're not supposed to like let water go in there. You're not supposed to touch it. You can't really do anything with it. And so you're stuck in a certain position, but at some point you get back to your emotions and you can start dancing, or doing whatever you need to do. So it's kind of like that, like just understand this is only a moment of time where we have to give up certain things, but then we can go back to how things are once it decides to blow over. Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to meet your mother. But I think our next interview, mom, dude, really honestly. Today, Amanda and I, because we do this, we have the pleasure of meeting a lot of people. And yesterday we met with Joan. How do you pronounce her last name? Mm-hmm. Yeah, McGregor. And yesterday she talked about empathy. She talked about human design thinking, and the foundation of human thinking design, or human design thinking, is empathy. And what you just described was empathy, and that's the world. So I will say that, and Amanda and I talk about this all the time. I don't think there's an intellectual deficit in the world. There are lots of really, really brilliant people in the world. But what we need is people who are both brilliant and have empathy. Brilliant and have empathy. Mm-hmm. And everything you just talked about, is just really rooted in empathy. I did see, because I'm a visual person, I do want you to create a dance piece around this whole topic.
Yeah.
I really want you to create like a 15-minute piece on of a stranger who comes up and invites you into a very difficult situation, only to be invited to another stranger who started a GoFund Me. And I love that portal. I love those doors going one into the other, to then you going into this closer relationship with your sisters, who then open up another door for you to really find your path through this economic windfall, and then going into Cal State Fullerton, and then seeing what happens there for you. So there is this series of doors that are just kind of aligned for you. And so it'd be interesting to see a 15-minute dance piece around that. So that's my request for you. Amanda, I'm so glad you're asking that, because I think we all have to remember that the people who serve us in restaurants are people. They're human beings. And oftentimes they're young people. They're kids. Not that you know, but they're young people. And even if we're having a bad day and we're feeling terrible, the fact that someone makes you a cup of coffee, the fact that someone brings a meal to you, is so huge that we should really prize that person. So the word is server, or the service industry, and maybe we should change that word to something else, because somehow people have felt that service makes you lower, right? It creates it, but it's only in service that we're actually in alignment with life, right? I serve you, you serve me, and by serving each other, right, we create an ecosystem of giving and receiving, and what we call empathy. So I can't wait to meet your mother. I love the fact you've spent time with us. I know Amanda and I was talking about you for a long time. I'm glad you're here, and you're just the most amazing person that I think we've spoken to. I mean, I just really love you, dude. I
think it's great because we see the younger generation, and part of this whole project, I have as a mentor one of the greatest leaders of San Diego and the binational region. And when we spoke and interviewed him, I said, it's going to be exciting because through this process, we will be able to identify emerging leaders.
That's right.
And I think in this past hour, we have just done that. I think we were all meeting a leader who is just going to represent San Diego and our binational region, and really just be someone that we follow for a long, long time, and encourage and see grow into. I mean, you're already an amazing human being. I'm just so excited.
Ready.
Hold on, everyone. It's going to be amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Hold on. There's one thing we do. So what I want you to do, Lenin, is just sit up. Take a deep breath. Okay. And I want you to give me the one word that's sitting with you as a result of our time together. What's the one word that sits with you?
Connection. Perfect.
You did it. Guys, so much. Alexis, thank you for your time and your brilliance.
It's always lovely to be with you.
It was so nice to meet you, and I'm confident that great things will come of this conversation and of this connection. So let's keep loving and encouraging people to wear a mask so we can get through this faster. And we'll keep everyone up to date on what projects come out of this, guys.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, guys. You can see this on Bellevue TV on our YouTube channel. And please subscribe so we can keep bringing you amazing stories like Lenin.
Thank you, Lenin. Say hello to your mom and your sisters.
All right, will do. Thank you.
Ciao, Amanda.